Hello and welcome. Queen City Psychic Medium here, doing business as CINCY Psychic LLC. And if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and hit like as well. I appreciate it. Today, I guess this video we are going to call my Spaceship Starship Memory Part 2. And I do want to back up here. When I spoke of the ETs, the goddess lady asking for a blood sample, I do want to elaborate. I do not recall what happened with the little girl and her mother because we had so much going on our end that I didn't really pay attention. But when they asked for blood, they only asked it from my mother. They did not care to have a blood sample from my father or me. So when they asked, my father actually he appeared to be a little offended. And when I had no clue why for so many years, because this memory I've had for over 30 years, and it was just a few years ago when I actually realized, oh, duh, wow, okay. But it was actually just like 10 years ago. If that I found out what blood type I am too. But my mother is RH positive. So these people did not care, these beings did not care about RH negative blood samples. They wanted an RH positive blood sample, okay? I just wanted to explain that for you guys and back up because I tend to get sidetracked sometimes. Okay, so coming off the spaceship. So I left it off with letting you know that I was told that they would return and that I have had many experiences. I do want to go ahead and say to you, because I will say, hey, I predict that a spacecraft or starship or something is going to land. And I believe that's what you call the second coming. And I have to ask you Christians, what is the second coming to you, man? Is that like Christ just floating out of the sky? What's up with that? Okay, or is there going to be like a big giant Jesus Christ head floating in the sky so half the world can see it? I mean, what's up with that? Your second coming's a spacecraft, all right, for sure. I knew when I was like 15 years old that ETs, what I thought at 15 was that ETs impregnated apes or something and created this race. ETs are definitely involved with this race, all right? That will be a whole nother video. Anyway, so coming off the spaceship. So next, I remember waiting to enter a room, and the little boy whose mother had fainted that was standing next to me to the right, he was in the room, and I was waiting for him to come out, and I was a little bit impatient. And he came out, and his big thing was going to be mathematics. And I do remember being, I don't know if I was jealous or envious, whichever you want to call it. Jealousy is deceit, so probably not. But envious because, I loved math and numbers. And I still like numbers. So like in high school, people copied off of my paper in math class all the time, middle school and high school, because I was the little math whiz at that time. Not so much anymore. But anyway, so I went in and we discussed what was shown to me. And this time I had to write things out. So I did. I wrote them out. We talked about all the artists that would die. We talked about 2 people in the United States and 2 people in Europe. So it's a total of 4 people. It might not be people. He did say Dr. Burke is who I'm talking about here. I remember that, seeing that name. He did say that they say 2 people in the United States control the music and 2 people in Europe control the music. It may just be entities or something. I don't know if I want to say human beings, although it is probably human beings because I believe that human beings are stationed here as channels for ETs and not just the ETs that I met, which I believe are Pleiadians. And I believe they are Pleiadians because I do get messages from the music, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers can't stop the spirits when they need you. And they say at the end, coming from a spaceship, teach you about the Pleiades. That right there was my trigger of going, okay, there's my message. There's my validation. And I will do videos in discussing validation through, birds, pets, animals, music, numbers, jewelry, all that stuff. Okay, so anyway, we discussed everything. We discussed, he says to me, we're so sorry it happened so close to Christmas time, but they tell me you'll be all right. And I said, what? And he looked down and I went, oh, yeah. And I couldn't remember. See, I remembered this like the beginning of 1990. I couldn't remember what was going to happen, but I knew that it was going to happen to me. It was going to be really bad, and it was going to be right before or after Christmas. So September 1990, I start telling everybody something's going to happen right before or after Christmas. I'm scared. It came and went. Nothing happened. That's what I heard from the couple people that I shared with. The following September kicks up, 91, and it kicks up again. Something horrible is going to happen right before or after Christmas. December 15th, 1991, I get hit by a car and trapped underneath it, and my leg is broken in 5 places. So there you go. And also with that, I did experience where the spot that I got hit in, okay, which was a parking lot, I used to wear jewelry for protection, white gold, just thin white gold serpentine chains on my ankles, wrist, and I had a belly chain that I wore. It was not a serpentine. It was a lot thicker. And I had a piece of aquamarine hanging from it. And one evening, when I was walking across the parking lot, my belt just came unclipped and fell right in that spot where I ended up getting hit in. And I was with about 5 people, and I said something horrible is going to happen as soon as that happened. And my jewelry would not break, and this was a common thing for me. My jewelry would not break. It would just come undone. So it would just unfasten. Okay. So we talked about that, and they said they couldn't stop it. I did speak about my throat getting cut. I did not elaborate that I was not going to die when that happened. I was going to live, but I was going to be extremely traumatized and useless. So they did stop that from happening. And in 1990, I was shown on the spaceship how this was all going to happen, how it was going to unfold. And all the fires that happened around me, which you could actually go look up in Los Angeles, because there was like 6 or 7, all the buildings surrounding my building. But anyway, that's another story. So the building across from my apartment, it had caught on fire twice, and they were doing the roof. And they showed these bikers circling my building. That really did happen. There was a biker gang circling my building for about 2 days. And it was pretty threatening, actually. Okay. So having a little bit of acid reflux from my my fruit smoothie. But anyway, so they showed this dude on the spaceship, okay? And actually it would be this dude right here. And I did color him in a little bit and black out some stuff. So we are not saying any names or dropping any hints, okay? They showed him climbing up on a Harley right underneath my balcony, getting in through my balcony and cutting my throat. So when they were working on the roof, I freaked out. And I had gotten this guy's father's number, because spirit works that way for you when you're connected. And I called his father and I told him that his son was threatening me and to leave me alone before you're sorry. I actually was very threatening with them. Very aloof and very short. Anyway, the bikers stopped in about an hour. They quit circling my building. Okay. Which my neighbors were relieved, because my neighbors were like, these bikers, there was like 20 of them, 20 or 30, and they'd take shifts and they'd circle 24/7. They'd stop at night when it got real late, but that was freaky. So anyway, we discussed that. We discussed a lot of other things that are going to be stories. We discussed Ronald Reagan being president. We discussed that they would know, see, everything that you're doing which I now understand is the internet and your phones and all that. I will tell you, I believe absolutely 100%. I know that there are good guys out there, which they're being referred to as the white hats. I have my MIB. I call them my MIB. Some of my angels, right, that have really helped me and saved me. And we did discuss that. I would get crushed at a concert. We had a concert here in Cincinnati. What was the year? See, I'd have to think. I think it was 79. The Who, where 11 people died. I was crushed at. I did not attend that concert. I was crushed at a concert about 14, 15 months before that. Crushed, unconscious, not going on the ground. My feet coming up off the ground. Okay. And I was crushed, and I was saved. Some man saved me, and I did not get to see who that was. And I'm so grateful, and I thank you. Okay. We did discuss that. We discussed all kinds of things. We discussed the murder that I would predict, and what would happen, and how I could get this guy busted for doing it. Let's see, because I'm kind of rambling. The Raven, I need to move into the Raven from the spaceship. Okay, so I told you that they would make a Raven come my way, and that I was told that the one twin Raven, because one was left on the ship at that time, could hurt men and government men, very important men, to make them do bad things. I was really worried about how it was going to come my way and what I was supposed to do. They told me I would know. And I do always trust in that. I always have, and always do trust in your gut feeling and your innate response to things. Okay. So I was at a place called the Roadhouse Barracks. Okay. It was a hangout where some bikers hung out, some UC students hung out, and then just some people. Okay, because it was a big house and people rented rooms separately. All right. And I did learn some psychic ability techniques. Me and the little boy whose mother passed out when the spaceship landed, a woman named Shelley trained us at the Roadhouse. That's actually how we were introduced to the Roadhouse. He did quit going, though, after about 3 times. And I stuck there, and a murder did happen there. Okay. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, so before that murder happened, the Raven ended up there. All right. And the Raven was a faceted crystal. That's the form it came in. All right. And it was about yay big. All right. So it was a palm full. It was a faceted crystal. What I mean by that is it looked like a diamond. All right. Like the cut on a diamond. And it had, like, I believe, okay, a wood trim around it. There was a trim around it. So there was some dude talking about how they were so into hypnotism back then. In the 60s, they were. If you lived in the 60s, you would know that. All right. Unless you were like some straight-laced person. Okay. So anyway, this dude was going to hypnotize my mother. Okay. And there was like 3 or 4 languages. They were not English that you could use. My father did not take this serious. All right. My father was ahead of me to the right. There was a table in between him and the man that was across from me. I cannot remember his name. He had long dark hair, beard and mustache, long beard mustache. Okay. My mother sat to the right of me. Okay. I'm like almost 4, not quite 4. I'm told to keep my eyes closed during this the entire time. Do not open them no matter what. So my father says, when the guy says, "What language do you want me to use?" My father didn't really care. All right. So the dude chose one and he held it up in his left hand. Okay. And I had my eyes closed, and he, or maybe it was his right hand. I don't really remember. Okay. I did peek, which is, I'm coming to that. All right. So he held the thing up, and he did his incantation, whatever it was. Okay. And I peeked. And I had been told not to open my eyes, not to touch my mother, no matter what. I opened my eyes because I could feel the thing, man, with my eyes closed, all right? And I opened my eyes, and it was a clock with Roman numerals, okay? That's what I saw, all right? When he first took it out, it was a faceted crystal, but it was a clock with Roman numerals. And each one of the Roman numerals became a little tiny bird, all right? And simultaneous, each one of those birds spread its wings, okay? And when they all came up even, all right, straight across, okay, they all turned into the birds. I don't know if I'm making sense to you, but this was so weird, all right? Then this was like a hologram kind of, all right? And so when the birds came, oh, yes, it turned into one big bird where I could, like a hologram, where I could see like one big bird, all right? And then it zoomed, and then it turned into an eye, one eye, okay? And light was coming from it, okay? And it was aimed at my mother, and it freaked me out. And it noticed that I was looking at it, and I'm going to do this the way that I saw it for the screen here, okay? So say I'm the eye, all right? So it's looking at my mother. And when you go to look at something to the side, you look kind of down. All right. So that's what it did. It looked over at me. And before it made contact, okay, as it was coming over at me, I put my arm up against my mother. That's when I triggered it. And it looked over at me. Had my arm up against her. And before it made eye contact with me, because that's what you don't want. My mother had passed out. I left that part out. I heard my mother gasp and pass out. And I put my arm up against her arm. And I closed my eyes and I screamed no as loud as I could. I didn't know if it was out loud or inside my head. I meant to do it in my head. And when I didn't get yelled at, I knew it was in my head. Okay? And the goddess came, not in a physical form. She was like a cloud, like a spirit cloud, and that we were like cords with her. We were on cords, and she and I were zooming, and we were dragging my mother on a cord who was still passed out, and we were charging towards this thing, okay, and it was trying to charge back, and we were way ahead. And it couldn't zoom that far, and it turned in, the sparks just flew. Sparks just flew, and I heard it yelp, and it fell to the ground. And I knew we were okay, and I did see like rainbow colors as we were the clouds. It was a trip. Okay, so that was over, and my mother couldn't wake up. They had to slap her in the face. They asked me somebody came and got me out of the room. When it was over, when they finally got her awake, it would have been about 15 minutes or something. She had to use the restroom before we left. And on the front porch, my father, he was shocked. And he asked me, what was that thing? And I told him it was a bird. And I told him I killed it. Okay. And later, my father was sunburned, the right side of his face. The left side was not, because of where the amulet is what I call it, was held up. My mother was sunburned, and she had to make up a lie that she fell asleep in front of the sun lamp, and that my father was sitting there. They didn't really know what to say. So that's the story of the raven, and what the raven does is it siphons souls. And I believe so there was the raven that was on the spaceship, and there was the one that was off that they led my way, okay, that, they captured again. So, okay, so what happened? What happened? Did another one somebody take another one? Did they take both? Because the world is like the Twilight Zone right now, okay, with, Princess Coronis in flight. That's mythology, but I do not believe that mythology is necessarily a myth. Okay, and we'll get into that sometime. But the pieces to the puzzle are starting to come together, and I did not realize the puzzle was so large, which is why I'm sharing. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my story, And I wish you all peace, harmony, joy, unconditional love, and pure radiant light, and rainbow rays of light, all the chakra colors. Until next time, peace out.